The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
What is up, party people? Anthony Hartwig with you on this wonderful Monday afternoon edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Going to do what I always do and put their logo in that top right corner so you always know where to go if you are in the market for a new or used vehicle. Make sure to head over to Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Check them out. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. We try to do the same here on this show every single day with their interviews, with your in-depth coverage of regular season games, tournament games, doesn't matter. We go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. It's one of the things that we like to do. We thank Greenwood Chevrolet for their constant support of this show since day one. We couldn't do what we do without you. So if you're a fan of Running Point, make sure you're also a fan of Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Go check them out on social media. They have a good, strong social media following. Like their Facebook page, follow them on TikTok. Their TikToks are hilarious. So make sure to get out and support Greenwood Chevrolet is the main point of that intro. We're going to have a good show for you today. We have baseball brackets to go over. We went over Division One just to get your feet in the water on Friday. We're going to go over the rest of the brackets here today. We're also going to obviously preview the softball district semifinals that are happening tonight. Those ones will be on YSN as our tournament broadcast coverage will start in districts like it will for baseball as well next week. So we'll have all the district semifinals for you tonight. One payment of $9.99 gets you access to all those games that will be on the network for the night tonight. We'll talk about that more when we get to the end of the show. We also are going to go into Austin Town Fitch and give you two player interviews that are both in the can as we prepare for the district semifinal tonight at Youngstown State University against Madison. Ty Bartell will be on the call. So since they're playing today, we're going to squeeze in two of their interviews on the show. Sam Severn and Morgan Roby are both going to be featured on today's show. And that'll kind of be to close the show. First half of the show, we'll do our tournament talk, and then we'll go into both those interviews from Austin Town Fitch softball. So without further ado, let's go into our brackets. And as always, we're going to pull the brackets up on the screen so you guys can look at them while I'm talking about them. And this is found on the NEDAB database, which is the Northeast District webpage. You can also find these brackets on the OHSAA main page if you find baseball. That is where I go for the state and regional breakdowns, but I like to use the Northeast District page for the district brackets because it's just a little bit easier to find all of them. You don't have to scroll as much, and you don't have to, they're just in the one column right here. There's all your brackets in a nice little row. This is ohsaa.org/northeast -sports-tournament/baseball. So you don't have to do all those dashes. You do ohsaa.org/northeast, and you'll find the main page where you can find baseball, softball, whatever sport you want for the Northeast District. So like I said, we went over Division 1 on Friday. So let's start with Division 2, Northeast 1, see what this bracket looks like. At the top, it is Canfield. They are the 2 seed. They will have a bye. They will await the winner of Ravenna and Youngstown East, which is happening today at 5 o'clock. Canfield will be in action on Wednesday against the winner of those two teams as they have the first round bye. The second half of that bracket is Poland, which has the bye as well as the 8th seed. They await the winner of Edgewood and Howland, which is happening tonight. Pretty good matchup in the sectional semifinals at 5 o'clock. That one will be in Edgewood as Howland tries to get a win and get a matchup with Poland in those sectional finals on Wednesday. We go to the bottom half of the bracket, and we see down there a Geneva team that is quietly but surely gotten the 5 seed in the district. They have the bye, and they await the winner of Ursuline and Painesville Harvey. Ursuline, the 6th seed. So even if the Ursuline wins tonight, they will have to go to Geneva in the sectional finals, obviously. Tonight, Ursuline hosting the 21st seeded Harvey in that Division II sectional semifinal. And then last but not least, the bottom of the bracket, you have Mogador Field, the 4 seed. They will play the winner of Niles and West Geauga. That is the 18 versus 19 seeds right there tonight at 5 o'clock in West Geauga. Niles making the trip. They hope to get the road upset and get themselves into that sectional final against Mogador Field. Very interesting bracket, 2, 4, and 5 all in this one together. So it's going to be a very, very competitive district bracket, especially this bottom end. If it goes chalk and you have 5 versus 4 in the district semifinal, and I think some of these smaller teams can actually compete pretty well against the bigger seed like Geneva. I think Ursuline, if they win, can definitely give Geneva a lot to handle. And I actually think Niles is better than their record would say. They think they've proven that a couple of times this year. They can pull off an upset. So if Niles takes care of business tonight as well, very, very interesting bracket. And then you look at the top half of it too. Canfield obviously is the 2 seed, and there's a chance that we'll see a possible battle of 224 in the district semifinals, which would be very fun to see round 3 of that matchup in the district semis with so much on the line. Those two teams are one of the most heated rivalries in the area, especially between public schools. And anytime the rivalries get together in what amounts to be a huge tournament game, that just notches up the dial all the way to 10 on the intensity scale. But Poland, they're going to have to deal with either Edgewood or Howland, and especially if Howland wins that matchup. I think they match up really well with the Bulldogs. So I'm not giving Poland an automatic pass to the district semifinals at all. I think the Tigers and the Warriors can both give Poland a game, but especially if Howland wins that game against Edgewood, they match up pretty dang well with Poland, and that would be an interesting sectional final for sure. Crestview, on the other hand, they're awaiting the 22 and 23 seeds. Crestview, what am I saying? Canfield, on the other hand, awaiting the 22 or 23 seed. I think if they do what they're supposed to and obviously take care of business, they should have their way into the district semifinal where they will play Poland, Howland, or Edgewood, depending on who comes out of that sectional. So a very interesting first Northeast 1 bracket. These districts next week will be played at Struthers and Scene Park, like a lot of the districts that you'll see going on in the area. The first district game will be at 4 o'clock at Scene on Wednesday. On Wednesday's the sectionals. On next Monday. And then the second game next Monday in districts will be at 6:30 at Scene. So much like softball, where you're seeing today, districts starting a little bit earlier, which means if you're a fan and you want to get to see that first game, you might have to make some changes to your schedule. I know 4 o'clock is kind of a heated debate among parents about, can I get to a 4 o'clock game? There are some district semifinals today and tomorrow that are starting at 2. That's one of the things, that OHSA, it kind of boggles my mind, especially the 2 o'clock start. You're making the kids miss a whole half day of school to play the district semifinal. And I don't know. And obviously it's even harder for parents to get to a 2 o'clock game than it is to get to a 4 o'clock game. If you have thoughts about that, make sure to hit the comment section up, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or the website. Let me know what you think about the start times of district semifinals in baseball and softball. Here is Northeast 2. Alliance is the 1 seed. They have the bye, of course. They're waiting the winners of NDCL versus Cheney. That is a 13 versus 24 seed. So 13 seed, I mean, that's a pretty high seed for Alliance to get in their first game if NDCL goes and wins chalk. You saw Canfield, they're getting the 22 or 23. Alliance, on the other hand, the flip side, their first game would be against a 13 seed if that goes chalk. So very different spectrums there. I think 13, especially an NDCL team that's ranked 13th, where they play the independent schedule and a very tough schedule, probably one that you would say could belong to a Division One team schedule wise. That's a dangerous first round matchup for the 1 seed Alliance. I don't know how happy I would be if I was an aviator about that draw. We go to the second half of Alliance's half of the bracket, and it is Marlington, who is also in Alliance, as the 9 seed. They await the winner of Madison and Jefferson, that is 17 versus 20. So even Marlington gets a little bit more favorable of a draw. No matter who wins that game, it's going to be higher than Alliance's opponent, which, once again, if it goes chalk, would be in DCL. We go to the bottom half of the bracket. We see that Hubbard gets the 7 seed. They have the bye. They await the winner of Struthers versus Girard. So we get a little NE8 rematch, and Girard and Struthers played 2 really good games this year. So I'm looking forward to a good one in that matchup, which is tonight at 5 o'clock. And I believe that this is going to be at Scene Park. Yes, it is at 5 o'clock on at Bob Scene Park for Struthers' home game. Girard can be pretty tricky because they have Jake Dowie, who they're probably going to throw in this game 1, who does have a no-hitter on his record, a very good pitcher. These tournament baseball games can get kind of dicey because some of these mid-level seeds could be that at that point because they don't have necessarily the pitching depth to go and win for a whole week, but they definitely have the pitching depth to win twice in a week and then give those pitchers rest until district. So I think Girard's a team in that category that could really sneak up on people as a 15 seed. They definitely have a really good ace on the mound in Mr. Dowie. We'll go to the bottom of the bracket as it is going to be a bye for West Branch, the 3 seed, and they get the winner of Streetsboro and Salem. Salem, another team that already beat West Branch this year and last Monday, 7-5. So they've proven that they're another mid-range seed team. And they definitely can go win games, especially with the top end of their pitching staff. So Salem and Girard in this bottom of the bracket, I think, are very sneaky teams that these higher seeds have to watch out for. Especially, I mean, Hubbard, there's not going to be any secrets between Girard and Hubbard if that's the matchup that happens in that sectional final. So Hubbard would be well aware, I think, of Girard's prowess, but also Girard well aware of how to attack the Eagles. That would be a very interesting sectional final. Actually, it would be the same thing with Struthers. No matter what, we're going to see an NE8 sectional final with Hubbard there getting the bye. But down here, Salem, I wouldn't put it past them to get an upset and beat Streetsboro. They're going to have to go on the road to do it. And if they do, then, they have West Branch again. And that's another rivalry game that would happen and with big stakes on the line. The districts of this round will be held in Louisville. So next week, when these sectionals are done, the districts will be at Louisville. Game 1 will be at 2 o'clock. This is what we were talking about, district starting at 2. I want to know what people think about this. I know I'm kind of on the fence about it because I know a lot of parents are going to struggle to get the 2 o'clock games. If you work, you can only take off so many days, and the regionals are going to start at 2 too. So spoiler alert there. If your team makes the regionals, it's another 2 o'clock start to those regional semis. I get it. You have to fight daylight, so you kind of have to start these games earlier. And you gotta make that happen. But especially at Bobstein Park, which is where we saw the last district happen, you don't have to fight daylight. You have lights there, so I don't see why you can't start those semifinals at 5 and 7 to make it easier on everybody to be able to get there. Kind of baffled about that. We'll go into Division 3 though. And I'll regress, and I'll let the OHSA do their thing. Still happy to see these matchups. So let's go into Division 3 and look at the Northeast 1 bracket. This one will also be having their districts in Scene Park. And it is Lakeview as the 1 seed. No shocker there. The NE8 champions get the 1 and they have the bye. They will await the winner of Cardinal and Liberty. That is the 13 versus 25 seeded teams right there in the sectional semifinals. And that game is tomorrow. These Division 3 games are going to be tomorrow for sectionals and then on Thursday for the sectional finals. The other sectional below Lakeview is to be determined. No one gets to bye in this one, as Perry will play Southeast. That is going to be an 8 versus 23. And then they will play the winner of Burton, Berkshire, and Grand Valley. That is 10 versus 21. So if that goes chalked, then the sectional final would be 8 versus 10, which would be a pretty interesting sectional final if that were to happen. Bottom of the bracket, we see that Kirtland does get a bye as the 4 seed. The Hornets pretty much good in every sport they play, so no shocker to see Kirtland get a 4 seed in the district. I don't know much about their baseball program this year, but they spit out athletes like it's their job, so I would never look past the Hornets in any sport. We go to what their sectional final is, what they're looking forward to. Columbiana versus Conneaut. That'll happen tomorrow night in Columbiana. The Clippers, a very successful season with the EOAC championship under their belt. They will try to take that momentum into the tournament, win a sectional semifinal, and then they would have to go on the road to beat Kirtland in the sectional final. We'll go to the bottom end of the bracket where it is Garrettsville Garfield. Once again, a quiet, sneaky team that put together a strong season in that tough MVAC gray tier, just a tick behind Crestview and LeBray, but they're still the 5 seed in this tournament, and they still have a lot of things you have to be wary of. They will await the winner of Cardinal Mooney, who is the 9 seed, and Campbell, the 22. Obviously, Cardinal Mooney is going to be a big favorite in that game, and it's a tough draw for Garfield, who has had a really good season, but their first game of the year, first tournament game, could possibly be against a Cardinal Mooney team that plays a schedule way above Division 3. So that'll be a big test for the G-men if the chalk goes the way it's supposed to, and Cardinal Mooney travels up to Garrettsville on Thursday, which will be at 5 o'clock. Once again, these districts will be at Scene Park, and they will start next week on a week from tomorrow. I'm sorry, the 22nd is a week from today, 7 days away from today. 4 o'clock is where it's going to be at Scene Park for game 1. And then we'll go to the bottom, of course, and see that game 2 will start at 6:30, 4 o'clock and 6:30 for baseball games at Scene Park. And then the district championship will be on the 24th, which is Wednesday, a week from Wednesday, I should say, at 5 o'clock. That is when our broadcast schedule will start for baseball in the districts. Just like softball, our broadcast schedule will not start in sectionals due to the vast majority of games won. Our announcers are kind of spread thin. We'll have the fees still put down upon us on the OHSAA for sectionals. So we have made the decision for both baseball and softball to not start our broadcast coverage until districts. But you'll still see game recaps, and we are still going to talk about these matchups at length here on this show and on Power Hour and on the 440 Sports Show in the morning as well. So we'll have coverage of these teams. We promise we're not abandoning you in sectionals. We just have to pause our broadcast coverage until districts. Let's go into the last Division 3 bracket, the Northeast 2, and see how that one shapes up. South Range is the 2 seed. They get the bye, and they will play the winner of East Palestine versus Brookfield. That is 17 versus 20. The South Range awaits the winner of that, and they'll play those games on Thursday at 5 o'clock in South Range. Whoever wins that first matchup tomorrow night. On the other end, Jackson Milton, the 7th seed, and the MVAC Scarlet Tier champs, and some might call them the overall MVAC champs after beating LeBray over the weekend. They get the bye, and they will play the winner of Champion and Waterloo. Champion, a very solid team, very senior-led. So we'll see what they can do in this tournament as they will try to get a sectional final win tomorrow. And if they do, they'll have to contend with Jackson Milton. Well, the bottom half of the bracket sees Crestview as the 6th seed. They will play the winner of Pymatuning Valley and United. That is a very interesting sectional semifinal between 14 and 16 seeds. And I think, Pymatuning Valley wants to go in and get an upset, but United's pitching staff, he's definitely going to have something to say about that for sure. That game is tonight at 5 o'clock, and the winner will go on to play Crestview on Wednesday. We go to the bottom end of the bracket. It is going to be LeBray as the 3 seed. They will go up against the winner of Newton Falls and Mineral Ridge, two MVAC teams from different tiers. Newton Falls ending the season on a really hot streak. They've only lost one game in the last 7. So Newton Falls is really gaining a lot of momentum. I think they would argue that they're a different team since the last time they played LeBray. So they definitely want a different, another shot at the Vikings. Vikings, on the other end, have lost their last 2, so we'll have to see them regather themselves and go into this bracket with a lot of momentum as they await the winner of Newton Falls and Middle Ridge. So we'll see how that goes. That could be very interesting with 2 teams kind of trending. I don't want to say trending because it's only been 2 games. Wouldn't call 2 games in baseball a trend, but 2 teams going into the tournament in a little bit different momentum. A little bit different momentum right now with Newton Falls winning a lot in the last week or so, and LeBray with a little 2-game losing streak against 2 really good teams. But we'll still have to see how that goes. These districts are going to be held in Niles on the 22nd, which is next Monday. So Waddell Field, Wilder Field, and Niles, that will be there. First game is going to be at 1 o'clock on Monday, the 22nd, and that's earlier than any softball game we see. So even earlier start for the baseball districts, probably because baseball does take a little bit longer to finish. It is a little bit of a slower game than softball as far as time goes, so they're giving baseball there an extra hour. So 1 o'clock and 4:30 are your start times for those district games next week for Division 3 in the Niles bracket here in the OHSA website. We have one more bracket to go over in baseball. It is going to be Division 4. Northeast 1, this is a Struthers bracket, so once again, it'll be at Scene Park when they get into districts. And it is going to be the 1 seed, Lake Center Christian, getting the bye. They await the winner of St. Thomas Aquinas and Shocker. That is 18 versus 19. So a pretty interesting sectional final between 2 closely seeded teams going on tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. We're definitely rooting for our YSN team in St. John. We'll go into the bottom of that. This sectional final already set. Wellsville will play Ashtabula St. John. I'm sorry, that was the wrong St. John, wasn't it? We're not rooting for St. Thomas Aquinas. We don't care who wins that game. It's not a YSN team. I was thinking Saint, and I just saw Saint, and my mind jumped right to St. John. But St. John is right below them. They're playing in the sectional final already against Wellsville. This will be a very interesting sectional final. 7 versus 8. Wellsville had a very good season. They had a chance to win the EOAC, dropped one pretty good one to Columbiana, but they're still a very formidable team, and they're going to play St. John, who got into our power rankings. Congratulations to the Heralds getting into our power rankings this week in the finale of the YSM Power 20. If you haven't seen that, make sure to go check out our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages for the softball and baseball Power 20, the last one. So where you sit there is where you're going to sit until the start of next season. So congratulations to all the teams who were able to make the final cut of 20 in baseball and softball. We'll go to the other end of this bracket. It is going to be Matthews as the 3 seed. They get the bye. They await the winner of Lowville versus Wyndham. That is going to be 15 versus 17. A lot of these sectional games in this Division 4 bracket already. Very closely seeded teams. It should be very competitive in the sectional semifinals. We go to the last sectional final. It'll be McDonald, the 4 seed. Very good season for the Blue Devils. They popped into our power rankings this week as well, so congratulations to them. Big win over LeBray on Saturday for the Blue Devils to take momentum into this tournament. They await the winner of East Canton versus Lordstown. 12 versus 21. East Canton already proven in softball that they have no problem going on the road and getting wins. So you got to watch out for that East Canton Hornets team, as they will try to earn their way into districts by going on the road and beating McDonald if they get past the sectional semifinal tomorrow night. These districts will be held on the 23rd, 4 o'clock start time. And once again, it'll be at Bob Sean Park, like a lot of these districts will. 4 o'clock for the first game on the 23rd, and then 6:30 for the second game on the 23rd. And the championship of this Struthers district in Division 4 will be on the 25th. That'll be Thursday, a week from Thursday, at 5 o'clock at Sean Park. So that's how that district looks. Let's pop over and look at Division 4 Northeast 2. When we open this bracket, we see that JFK as the 2 seed gets the bye. A lot of people think, even though they're the 2 seed, they are the favorites in this whole super district with the schedule they're able to put together and some of the big wins they've been able to get this year. They have the bye. They will play the winner of Southern versus Latonia, an EOAC rematch in that sectional semifinal happening tomorrow night. We will see the other sectional final on this side of the bracket already set, as Lisbon, the 13 seed, will play Bristol, the 9 seed in Bristol. And that game will happen Thursday night at 5 o'clock. Going to the other half, and it is going to be Springfield getting the bye as the 5 seed. They await the winner of Western Reserve and Badger, 11 versus 14. Pretty interesting look at this sectional here, because Western Reserve, if they are able to win, that'll be their third time against Springfield. Anytime you get a conference matchup in the tournament, it's fun to watch, especially when they're pretty closely contested. We saw Western Reserve beat Springfield in that marathon at Bob Sean Park not too long ago. So if Reserve's able to get a win in the sectional semifinals and advance to Springfield, they will have a lot of confidence that they can beat the Tigers this season. They've already done it. The Tigers will definitely want revenge for that as well. We go into the bottom half. It is Maplewood, the 10 seed. They have the bye. They await the winner of Heartland Christian and Sebring. Much like JFK, Heartland Christian has played a really beefed up schedule for a Division 4 team. So even though they're the 6th, I would not sleep on them to advance. They have a good chance, I think, in at least getting to the district championship. They played a game against Warren JFK last week, and it was only 6-0. I mean, I know that sounds like, oh, it's only 6-0. That's a pretty big score, but they were pretty competitive with JFK for most of that game. So I think they're 2 of the top teams in this bracket when you look at JFK and Heartland. I wouldn't sleep on the Lions, even though they're not necessarily the highest seed in here. If it goes chalk, obviously the 5th seeded Springfield Tigers would match up with JFK in the district championship. But things very rarely go chalk in these situations. So JFK, 5 and 6 seeds are in here, but everyone else kind of skirted them and went off to the other seed, the other district, which makes the one we just talked about earlier, the Struthers one, very interesting in Division 4. These brackets, these districts will be held in Springfield. So the Tigers also have a chance to host, play in the district they host. Games there are going to start at 2 o'clock. That'll be a week from tomorrow, 2 o'clock for the first semifinal. And then the second semifinal will be a week from tomorrow at 5 o'clock at Springfield. And the district championship will be a week from Thursday. That is going to be May 25th at 5 o'clock in Springfield. Once again, our broadcast coverage will start in districts for all these games. So that's your look at the district brackets for baseball. Like, a lot of exciting sectional matchups happening this week, and by the end of the week, on Friday, we'll know all of our districts. We'll be able to go over the districts and see who matches up with who, and then obviously our broadcast schedule will start next week. So very excited to see who comes out of these sectionals, and our broadcast coverage may be paused, but that does not mean that our coverage overall is paused. We will continue to do the recaps, do the player interviews, and all that fun stuff that we'll have for you with tournament baseball. So that does it for our tournament kind of preview. Let's go right into our interview section of the show. We have at least one Fitch player profile to play, pre-recorded. If we can't get to both, then we'll just do the second one tomorrow. But we are going to start with Morgan Roby from Austintown Fitch, and we'll see where we stand after this one plays.
Ty Bartell, Anthony Hartwig in with another player profile, another freshman from the Austintown Fitch Falcons, and Morgan Roby as learning a lot and getting a lot of playing time down the stretch. Morgan, how we doing today?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
I want to talk about always the start of the softball career because I always feel like the first chapter is always the most important and where you got the love for softball, some of your earliest memories in the sport. What is the earliest thing you remember about softball, and where do you find yourself falling in love with it?
Well, I find myself falling in love with it when I was young, when my dad started coaching me when I was about 4 or 5. And then just starting travel softball when I was 7 on a 10-year-old team made me love the sport even more.
Yeah, you talk about your dad coaching you from the beginning, and we always love to talk about the dads in softball and the relationship that a lot of softball players have with their dad coaches. What's that been like having him on your journey from the start and like you said, coaching you since you were 4 years old?
It's been good. He's been so supportive and everything. He's like always been there for me and always had my back through everything.
One of the things I know your dad hyped up so big too, and I made sure I mentioned it too, that 356 consecutive plate appearances without a strikeout. Obviously, Gabby Gradishar ended it, and that's a pretty darn good pitcher to tip a cap to. But talking about this stretch too, from JV and in varsity, because you've gotten a lot of opportunities there too. Yeah. What is it like just protecting the plate? Where do you attribute that success and just that mentality of being able to go east, west, north, south and making sure that nothing really sneaks by you?
Well, I'm always in there just like I'm just confident. I just place myself in the box. Like I always ask my teammates where I should go in the box, like far up in the box or back in the box so they can help me out where I'm supposed to be. And then I'm just like confident in there that I can get either a good hit or I just like get a base hit.
Obviously, to not strike out, you don't get nervous with 2 strikes. What do you do to calm yourself down in the batter's box and keep yourself in the right mindset?
Well, I really don't calm myself down. I'm just really nervous, actually. Like I'm just nervous. I just can't calm myself down. I'm scared, but like I know I'm gonna get like a hit or something. So.
When we talk about that too, I mean, you're batting 500 and you've taken well advantage of the opportunities you've gotten at the varsity level. So, I mean, there's got to be some confidence in there. What's that like when your number is called too? For you to be able to take advantage of that opportunity so many times too, obviously there's something that's going on mentality-wise. So when that number is called too, what's that feeling like? Do you immediately feel the amped upness, the nerves going on?
Yeah, I get nervous at first, but then I just go in there like a regular at bat. Like even though I don't bat all the time, I just go in there as a regular at bat and just calm myself down before I go in. So.
All right, so let's also talk about being an immediate impact on this team and coming into the preseason and some of the workouts and understanding that you had a really good chance to be an impact on this team as a freshman. What was that like getting ready for the season and maybe the first couple of times you stepped on that varsity field?
Well, it was actually pretty nice. I have a good teammates around me to help me out. Like I was nervous at first, like very nervous, and my teammates were around me and helping me out and making me make sure I was like okay and stuff. And I just like love my teammates. My coaches are great too, and I'm just like happy to be where I'm at.
A lot of the Falcon teammates of yours that I've talked to say that having so many players that are so good at all kinds of positions makes it a competitive environment inside the program, and in turn it makes everyone better. Do you feel the same in saying that too freshman year? Do you feel like this team has helped you improve?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I feel like just like fighting for a spot is like making me a better player, but also competing me at the same time, which is making like everything like I don't know how to explain it, like just making me an overall better player, just competing with someone stuff.
This is your first year with this coaching staff and Steve Ward. What's it been like to kind of get into this culture and to be led by them?
Well, it's been great. Like he's been a great coach. Like Coach Becky's been great. All the coaches have been amazing. Like they've helped me out so much. Like Yeah.
We talk about the dugout chants too, and I mean, we were just talking with Abby about this too, as another freshman coming in. What's that dugout experience like coming up in your freshman year, experiencing this Falcon dugout, and what's some of the favorite cheers to cheer on from the dugout?
Well, my favorite cheer is probably Bad Romance because I just love singing that song with my teammates and just like being in there with them. It's like it was odd at first, like all these random cheers, but I started to like love it and stuff. So
Did you have to take a minute to get in sync with the team on these cheers and know what they were doing and know what to do with them?
yes, yeah, 100%. Like I had no idea what I was like what they were doing. Then I just like hopped in and just got right to it. So.
Do you feel like, and I asked the same question as well to the other freshmen, but I always feel like that Myrtle Beach trip is a huge point in this Falcons journey too, especially the freshman year Myrtle Beach trip. Was that big for you in kind of getting that comfortability with your teammates and just an overall more of a bond with this Falcon team?
Yeah. I made such a great bond with all my teammates, every single one. Like we all like we get along so well because of that trip. Like we bonded so much and we did like board games at night and stuff. So we had like a great bond and everything.
You know, another part of those trips that we always talk about is getting to know your teammates. So what teammate do you think, because of that trip, you got to know really, really well?
I think I got to know Miley Somerville, because we weren't like as close, but and we just got super close. And also McKenna. Like I've known her since I was a kid, but we've got super close and I've got to know her way more than I did.
An interesting bridge player too, because you have the experience at the JV level this year and you're having the experience at the varsity level. So, and you're in both dugouts too. What's that experience kind of like too with the JV players? Probably, I would assume some of them looking up to you saying, well, Morgan's doing well on the varsity side, maybe I should take advice from her. What's that been like, being kind of like that bridge player?
Well, it's been actually pretty good. Like it's hard sometimes, like being with both, but I've like learned to accept it because I was on both with volleyball, because for freshman and JV. So I've just been helping everyone out if they ever ask me for anything. So
I want to talk about being a multiple sport athlete. You just brought up volleyball. You know, what's it like for you to kind of navigate the busyness that sports life can bring when you're a multiple sport athlete at a school?
oh, I like never have time for anything because I also play basketball too, but I don't play school basketball. I just play AU. It's hard having free time for anything. I try to make as best time as I can, but it's like hard too.
So when you do get the free time and you do find a little sliver of free time, what's your go-to leisure time activity? Is or is there an activity, I guess, other than just sitting back and kicking back?
Well, I like to hang out with my teammates and watch TV and stuff, like hang out with my friends, and everyone. So,
What's like the go-to show or go-to TV station for you guys?
I like Outer Banks.
You know, that's a popular one too.
Yeah.
Don't go to Outer Banks though. We go to Myrtle Beach, but right in the same vicinity, I guess. Little bit close.
What about let's talk about your school life too. Obviously, you're a student athlete, and there's a reason that student comes first in that word. What are some of your favorite subjects so far, freshman year of high school at Fitch?
I personally like I like history. I'm not a big fan of math or science because I suck at it, but whatever. And I like ASL. I like the language I take, but I'm a big fan of history and English.
Any teachers that are at the Fitch program right now at Fitch High School that have kind of impacted you off the softball field?
My math teacher, Miss Platt, and she's been saying how good I've been doing this year, and she's been like keeping me motivated and stuff. Just how good I've been this year.
I really like that you picked the math teacher when you admitted that math is not your best subject.
Okay,
so
but she likes the best one, so.
playing both sides of the fence a little bit. When you think about, some of your favorite memories already with this program, what have they been so far? What have been some of your highlights of the season?
Well, definitely going to Myrtle Beach and being with all my teammates is number one. Like that's been a great one. And I love hanging out with McKenna. We hang out all the time. Like she takes me out after practice. We're always jamming in the car and just stuff like that. Like just being with everyone is just great memories. Like all my friends.
What's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself as a softball player from the course of the season, first game to now?
I've learned that like anything can happen, like how I struck out, like anything can happen and everything's supposed to happen for a reason. But I've learned that also, like it's gonna be fine, like, and I'm gonna become a better player than I was.
Ty asked what you've learned as a softball player. What about as a person? What have you learned about yourself personally from this softball season?
I've learned that um it's like I've just learned to like be like a better person to everyone, have a better mentality and everything, like not have a poor attitude.
You talked about Kenna as one of those teammate role models too, but I gotta ask, who's some of the big role models in your life too that have gotten you to this point, that maybe some of their best advice too that they've given to you as a role model?
Well, one of them is my dad. My dad's just been a great father for all the sports that I've been in. And also my brother, he plays golf at Lake Erie, and it's just an impact looking up to him because he goes to college for a sport.
All right. What about some role model? Do you have any role models in the sport? Maybe people that you grew up watching that you kind of like, oh man, I want to be like this player when I grow up, or anything like that?
I really like, I mean, I like, I really don't have any because I don't watch my sport for some reason. Like, I don't like watching it, but like, I just don't have any, like, being honest.
You talked about some nerves throughout it. Are there any game day routines, superstitions that you have going into big games?
I just like listen to my music. Just listen to my music and lock in. Like that's really all. I just listen to music and just lock in.
What's that playlist look like? Give us the insight on what the music is that gets you in the right mindset.
It's like all rap music, like Lil Baby, Future, like Lil Uzi and stuff like that.
When we talk about your accomplishments so far in the sport, let's talk about accomplishments outside of the sport as well. What's one of your favorite things you've accomplished, maybe in a different sport or just in pitch as a whole so far?
I think I've been accomplished in volleyball, hitting better than hitting better than I usually do, and be learning to be a better student in school. Like my grades have went up than they usually have been, but that's like mostly it.
Making improvements everywhere. That's a great thing, though, no doubt, and you're finding time to do it as well.
So here's the big question, because you're a multiple sport athlete. You play, basketball in AAU, you play volleyball for Fitch, and now you play softball. What's the best feeling in sports? You going with something from volleyball, maybe a big kill, big shot in basketball, big hit in softball. What's the best feeling in sports to you?
The best feeling in sports for me is when with just being around my teammates and having they always knowing that they have my back through everything, and just like also like getting a big kill or making a great shot just to win games and stuff like that. It's just like great.
Talking about all the coaching staff too, I know Coach Ward has plenty of sayings too and plenty of go-to mottos. What's your favorite Coach Ward saying?
Well, he like my favorite one is like he like says he says like just do you. Like just do you, and that's all like that he really says is just do you, and I just do me like most of the time.
I'm gonna start calling those Wardisms because we have so many of them. Before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to thank your support system, give people a shout out that have really been there for you throughout your career.
I'm gonna say thank you to my grandma Veronica Brown, and thank you to my grandpa who's passed away, but I know he's still here. And thanks for all my friends and all my family and just all like everyone.
Morgan, we want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to come on and talk with us a little bit about the softball season so far. We wish you the best of luck with tournament vastly approaching, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
All right. Thank you.
That was Morgan Roby from Austintown Fitch talking with myself and Ty Bartell about her freshman campaign and what it's been like so far this year. One of the things I really liked about that interview was just the honesty a little bit. the blunt honesty that came out, and I love it. I love when players are like that. It was a great interview. If you missed a part of it or want to see it again in its entirety, it'll be up on YouTube very, very soon as its own piece of content. But you can also go to our YouTube page and watch this episode of Running Point or any episode of Running Point or Power Hour or the 440 Sports Show at any time on our YouTube channel. It is archived on our YouTube channel, so you can go and watch that whenever you want. It is going to be once again on our YouTube channel forever. And then obviously by itself, the video clip of that interview will also be put up as its own piece of content very shortly as well. While you're over there on our YouTube channel, though, if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching this later on YouTube, please, if you feel so kind, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We love subscribers. And then also like and comment on the videos so it helps the algorithm pick our videos out and get them out to people. And then if you want to beat that algorithm and you don't want to rely on YouTube's, hit or miss way of getting videos to you, hit that notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. And that way you'll be notified every time we upload a video on our YouTube channel. We do that almost daily, whether it be post-game interviews, player profiles, coaches' corners, game highlights, shows, etc., etc. Our YouTube channel is always hopping, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss any of the action that we put up on our YouTube page. With that being said, one of the things that will also be up on our YouTube page very soon is the interview with Sam Severin, which we do not have time to get to today. Fortunately, Anthony talked too long during his baseball bracket breakdown, so we're going to play that interview either tomorrow or later on in the week. We have plenty of time to play that. Fitch is going to play tonight against Madison in the district semifinals. With that, I want to go back to the district page real quick and find the softball districts and just let you know what games are happening in the softball district semifinals tonight. Tonight is D1 and D4 districts. So we'll go up to this district page and we'll get off of baseball and go back to softball. You go up here to sports and tournaments and you find softball down here. You click on it. And then you go into Northeast 1 and see where they're at. District semifinals here will be Riverside against Walsh, which is going to be a really good game in Division 1. They're playing in about 12 minutes. They're going to be starting down there in, let's see, where is this district? In Mentor, which is where Boardman would have been if they would have upset Walsh. Bottom half of this bracket is Green versus Perry. Should be a good one as well. That's a Federal League matchup, and that'll be at 5 o'clock in Mentor as well. We go into the Northeast 2 bracket in Division 1, and we see that Fitch matchup there. The 1-seeded Falcons are going to be playing at YSU against the 17th-seeded Madison team. And that game will be at 4 o'clock at Youngstown State Softball Complex. The other district semifinal at YSU is going to be East Lake North, the 11 seed, against Mentor, the 16 seed. And that'll be at 6:30 at Youngstown State. Winners will play on Wednesday at YSU. We go into Northeast 3 and Division 1 to see what these district semifinals are. And it's going to be Maslin Jackson, the 4 seed, going up against Stowe, the 8th seed, in the 1 district semifinal. This one happening in Maslin, Washington at 2 o'clock in about 10 minutes. And then after that at 5 o'clock tonight, we're going to have Archbishop Hoban. They are the 7th seed going up against Hoover, the 9 seed. Should be a really good one. That one will be on the network tonight from Maslin High School at 5 o'clock. I believe Matt Marr is going to be on the call down there for Hoban versus Hoover. Winner goes to the district semifinals against the winner, of course, of Stowe Monroe Falls and Maslin Jackson. We go into the Division 4, which is also tonight, Northeast 1. See what these district semifinals look like. First, in Jackson Milton, it's going to be Springfield, the 4 seed, going up against Matthews, the 6th seed, should be a very good matchup. Matthews, a very young softball team this year, just one senior, I believe, but a very talented program that is used to winning district championships and has been to state plenty of times as well. So Matthews knows how to win despite being young. Springfield, pretty old as far as their veteranship goes, and Hallie McCullough is having a great year. 3 no-hitters on the season for her. She'll try to get another good pitching performance as the Tigers play against Matthews tonight in Jackson Milton at 4 o'clock for the district semifinals. Winner goes to the championship, and they will await the winner of the second game. East Canton gets in there with the upset of Jackson Milton, and they will play McDonald and Isabella O'Brien, her dominance in the circle. Going to try to continue in Jackson Milton. That game going to be at 5:30 at Jackson Milton tonight. We'll go into the last district in Division 4. It is going to be the Badger District, and it looks like this. Chalker is the 2 seed. They get the entrance into the district semifinal. They will play against Southern in Badger at 4 o'clock tonight. And then the bottom half of this bracket looks like Middle Ridge against Western Reserve. That'll be at Badger tonight at roughly 5:30 is your start time there for Western Reserve and Middle Ridge. Winners will go to the district championship game. Now let's go over what games will be on the network tonight, because I think some of these early games are going to be hard for our announcers to get to, with starting at 2 o'clock. We talked about that earlier. Not a huge fan of 2 o'clock starts in district and regionals, but here we go. The games that'll be on the network tonight will have the Madison Fitch game at YSU at 4 o'clock. Ty Bartel will be there. We'll have Southern versus Chalker at 4 o'clock from Badger. Matt Morrison will be there. East Canton versus McDonald at Jackson Milton. Noah Doty will be at that one. He is not going to be able to make the Matthews versus Springfield game at 4 o'clock at Jackson Milton, unfortunately. So that is the only matchup tonight that will not be on the network, as Noah Doty will be in Jackson Milton at 5:30. And then in Massillon, Matt Marr will be there at 5 o'clock as Hoban plays Hoover. So as we have some last minute time, as we've talked about the games that'll be on the network, one thing I do want to remind you of before I forget is that the tournament games on the network tonight are a pay-per-view kind of setup where you will pay one payment of $9.99. That'll get you access to all the games that'll be on the network tonight. It will not carry over in tomorrow. Tomorrow you'll have to do the same thing, but you still get five? Is that five? 5 games tonight? Yeah, 5 games tonight, all for one payment of $9.99. So it's a pretty good value for your buck if you're paying for just the one game on our broadcast schedule. Same thing for tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday into the district championships. One payment of $9.99 gets you access to all the games on that evening. We invite you to do it. We also invite you to buy that ticket a little bit early in case you have any kind of technical issues. You don't miss the start of the game. We're going to try to get our announcers to start a little bit early if they can. That way, when you buy the ticket, you'll see the screen pop up and you know it works. So that being said, we hope you enjoy that. But I want to get to a couple of last kind of cleaning things before we go, since I have some time. One, I want to say congratulations to our YSN alums that are going to be playing in some NCAA tournaments. Mount Union features a couple in Division 3. They won their conference tournament, and they will go into the Division 3 NCAA tournament. That's Sydney Mercer from West Branch, Ali Natoli from Poland, Emily Denny from Poland as well. They're all playing in postseason softball, so congratulations to them and the Mount Union Raiders for making it to the Division 3 NCAA bracket. Also, congratulations to Jordan Anderson, former West Branch Warrior that played with Sydney Mercer at George Mason, making their first ever trip as a program to the NCAA tournament up in Division 1. They will be playing in the Duke Regional And they will be playing, I believe their first matchup is with Duke as the 4 seed in that region. So they'll have a good chance to go and play the Blue Devils and experience that level of competition in regionals. We want to say congratulations to Jordan Anderson and all the wonderful athletes that are finishing out their season at the college level that we've had the chance to cover over their career over here at YSN. We wanted to make it known that we support you after you graduate high school. It's not like you graduate and then we say goodbye and it's like, hey, we'll never see you again. We love following you, and congratulations to the players that are going to be playing in the postseason. We also want to I want to remind you that, hey, I am hosting a softball bracket challenge. There's not really an app for it like there is for the basketball one. But basically, what I'm doing is, you can look at the bracket, send me your picks. You can find info about it on my Facebook page. But my personal email, arhartwig01@yahoo.com. What you need to do is you need to pick the 16 regional finalists, so the 2 teams that are going to be playing in the regional championship. And then you're going to pick the 8 super regional teams, so whoever wins those regionals. Then you're going to pick it would actually be 16 super regional teams, so 16 regional champions. And then you're going to pick the 8 WCWS teams, and then the WCWS finalists, and then the champion, of course. And then they send those to me in an email, arhartwig01@yahoo.com, with your name included in it, of course, and then maybe a WCWS bracket challenge in the subject line, so I know to look for that. But if you do all that, we're going to have some fun. There are plenty of people involved in it. I've already got some emails from some people, so it's going to have a fun time. We'll keep track of the points, and you're not going to win anything. It's not like a gamble, but it's a fun time to watch those softball tournaments and kind of pick those teams. So if you're interested in that, all that I just said is on my personal Facebook page. Go check that out, and if you want to fill out a bracket, please do so, because it's a lot of fun to watch those regionals and super regionals, and of course the Women's College World Series, and have a little bit of stake in it. No, I picked this team to win. I picked this team to win. It's always more fun to watch when you have someone to root for in these regionals and super regionals and the World Series. If your team isn't in it, like mine isn't, because Georgia Tech did not make the tournament this year, but Tennessee did. So go Vols. They're the 4 seed. I know Aaron Gabriel is probably living on cloud 9 right now. SEC champs and 4 seed in the new tournament. So congratulations once again to all the YSN athletes that are finishing their softball season, and the ones that I mentioned that are going on to play in the postseason for softball at the next level. We are so proud of you. We're so proud to have been a small part of your journey as we covered you in high school, and we hope you have the utmost success in the postseason. For today's episode, I'm going to say goodbye and bid you farewell. Enjoy all the district action tonight. District semifinals in Division 1 and Division 4. Tonight, 2 and 3 will be tomorrow night for district semifinals as well. So it's going to be have a fun time. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Running Point, brought to you as always by